For Toronto's first pick of the 2016 National Hockey League Draft, we're going to have Director of Player Personnel make that selection, Mark Hunter.
Toronto proud to announce from Zurich, Men's League Switzerland, from U.S. program, Auston Matthews.
Americans have gone first overall before, but this is the first player that was raised in the Sun Belt.
Well, and that's what's interesting. Of the many interesting things about this young hockey player, aside from his skill and all his ability, he is representative of the next wave of American hockey players that are coming from Arizona, Colorado, Texas, California, places like that. There is a depth of talent in those cities, and why are they there? And Mike, you played down there. They're there because there's a lot of NHL players who stayed there and are training these young men.
And you talk about the poise he shows. Well, he's been around the Coyotes since he's about 14 years old. There's not that many NHLers that live down there in the summer, so come August, he'd be out there on the ice with all the NHL guys. He's been comfortable in their company for the better part of 4 or 5 years, which would help him when he goes over to Europe, which would help him when he goes to the draft interviews, and will help him when he gets on the ice next fall with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's played against these guys. He knows how good they are, how good he is relative to them, and he's going to fit right in.
Well, it's pretty cool that you go back to when he was a youngster and his late Uncle Bill and his father Brian took him to Coyotes games. Now he's got the opportunity to skate with Shane Doan throughout the course of the summertime, and a really fascinating story. This must have been ordained for him. His sister Brianna was to be induced. They had to wait an hour. Brian said, hang on, we got to get Auston Matthews on the ice for a skating lesson, but we'll get back to the birth of Brianna shortly.
That's a brand new sweater. No wonder he's having trouble pulling it on. That's the new look that the Toronto Maple Leafs will model in their 100th year. Auston Matthews. The plan comes together. They finished last, they won the lottery, and they get the first overall pick.
And I think that's a big part of this, too, for Toronto Maple Leafs and their long-suffering fans. This represents a changing of the narrative. Until now, for many years, it's what can go wrong is going to go wrong. Well, that changes now. They won the lottery. They got the best player in the draft. And this gives them a new beginning in Toronto they've desperately been trying to put together.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck. No matter what they did, finishing last, getting the most ping pong balls, they still only had a 20% chance of landing this pick. At some point, you have to be a little lucky. And they were lucky on that lottery night to get him.
Back to Gary Bettman.
We have a couple of trades to announce. Montreal trades Lars Eller to Washington in exchange for Washington's own second-round picks in 2017 and 2018. Eller to Washington for 2 seconds. We have a second trade. See, this is fun. Chicago trades Andrew Shaw to Montreal for Montreal's own second-round pick in 2016, the 39th pick, and Minnesota's second-round pick in 2016, number 45, which was previously acquired. Andrew Shaw to Montreal for 2 seconds. The next selection in the 2016 NHL draft, the second selection, belongs to the Winnipeg Jets.
Montreal ends up being the busiest team out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, not blockbuster trades are the ones we're looking for, but significant NHLers. The picks are already starting to move. Teams are starting to jockey for position because, guys, don't forget, this is not just about the first round. This is about what comes after. A lot of seconds already moving, Sammy.
Well, that's the Eller out, Shaw in when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens. Auston Matthews is with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's with Jeff Merrick.
Well, Auston, first of all, congratulations. Are you relieved that it's over? This must have been a lot of pressure for you along the way.
You know what? It's a dream come true. It's pretty incredible. With my family here, some friends. It's just a dream come true.
You've been preparing for this moment for quite a long time. I remember talking to someone last year in Phoenix who said at rookie camp there was Auston Matthews 1 year away from being selected, actually at rookie camp just to watch. Why'd you go?
Yeah, I had a couple of friends that were drafted. Christian Fisher, Brendan Warren, Nick Merkley. So, I went over to watch them and obviously show some support for them. So it was cool to watch and see how they ran things.
Take us to a young Auston Matthews. And one of the remarkable things about your story is, there's football in your family, there's baseball in your family, but there's not hockey. Take us to a young Auston Matthews going to Coyotes games, falling in love with the Zamboni, and falling in love with Daniel Briere.
Yeah, that's exactly how you put it. That's how it happened. I feel pretty fortunate the Coyotes moved there, back in 1997. So, I think if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today.
Enjoy the circus, Auston.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Auston Matthews, Darren Millard.
The first of 11 selections for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2016 NHL Draft. Battling with the Montreal Canadiens for the spotlight tonight. Needs for Toronto coming in. Top two defensemen. A franchise goaltender or prospect. They got that this week with the acquisition of Freddie Anderson. And then a franchise center. That's Auston Matthews. Back to Jeff.
Lou, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, congratulations. The first time you've made the first overall pick. What's going through Lou Lamoriello's mind right now?
Well, first of all, we're delighted. This young man, his size and strength, as we all know, it's so rare that you can get a center iceman that plays, the game 200 feet. And we feel that he's just going to fill a certain hole that we might have at this point.
Lou, I asked Brendan Shanahan in our pregame program, how many calls did your team get on the first overall pick? And he said, I'll defer to Lou on that. So I'll ask you the same question.
I think that no matter what transpired, if it did, it's all in the past. The most important thing is that Auston Matthews is a Toronto Maple Leaf right now.
Tell us a little bit about the skill set. Tell us a little bit about the package. I mean, Mark Hunter, one of the sharpest scouting minds in the entire hockey universe. What did him and your team see specifically in Auston Matthews that gave you great comfort and ease in saying we want Auston Matthews as our first-line center?
Well, I think what we saw, first of all, and more importantly, hockey sense at the highest level. Certainly his size, that's something that's never going to leave him. His parents gave him that. And also his commitment to the game, both offensively and defensively. And I think he really showed that in the World Championships. Every level he's gone to, he's found the way to succeed. And, he's got a great future.
Lou, congratulations on this one.
Thank you.
Lou Lamoriello, we think of Winston Churchill when he said, this is not the end, it's not the beginning of the end, but it might be the end of the beginning. I'm not sure that Churchill was talking about the Maple Leafs rebuild, but Darren, here we are.
I know one thing you've got Lou thinking. On a night that belongs to the opening round, the Winnipeg Jets will pick second overall. It's second-round picks that are flying around in the deals between Montreal, the Washington Capitals, and Montreal and the Chicago Blackhawks.
Chicago wasn't in the game until the 50th pick. I look at this as being the fourth pick in the draft. From about 25 to 45, you're going to get a similar group of players. Now, all of a sudden, Chicago, by acquiring those two picks, gets in the game at 39, 45, and 50. You have an extra bargaining chip there. Plus, you get into the game with guys that you would see earlier in your list.
More roster moving around for Chicago due to salary cap reasons. Andrew Shaw needs a new contract. He's going to get paid. He scored some big goals. He plays the power plays, won some cups. So now Chicago, who probably would have preferred to keep Andrew Shaw around as opposed to giving some second rounders, has to make another move. Question how much he'll get. And he's a little bit like Brendan Gallagher Redux. Smaller guy, drags everyone in the fight in the game. And in Montreal, a team that seems to roll over when things got really tough last year, maybe that injection of energy and attitude that Andrew Shaw brings to the game every night will help them.
Helps an identity.
It helps, yeah. It helps an identity for Montreal, how they want to play, an emotional investment, which at times was lacking this year.
And, we talk about how hockey analytics are picking up a number of years. It's also involved now with draft picks. We talked about Tampa Bay and their draft sheet getting out. Teams make calculations. What's a second pick worth? What can I trade a second pick for? And what's the value of that? More and more now, that's a big calculation for teams when they decide to trade down or trade for picks.
There was no bigger winner outside the Toronto Maple Leafs remaining in the first overall position at the draft lottery than the Winnipeg Jets, who jumped up 4 spots. And there's that camera shot of Kevin Cheveldayoff smiling in our studio. He picks second overall.
On behalf of the Winnipeg Jets organization, I'd like to say thank you to the City of Buffalo and the Buffalo Sabres for being so gracious hosts this week. We'd also like to say hello to all our Jets fans that are watching at our official draft party back at the Met in Winnipeg. With the second pick in the 2016 NHL Draft, the Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from Tappara of the Finnish Elite League, Patrick Laine.
People are going to be surprised at how tall he is. They won't be taken aback, at least surprised, by the personality. This guy delivers, and his personality can match his game.
Oh, no question about it. He's a fun-loving guy. He's come out and said, yeah, I should be the #1 guy. We know now that that's not the case, but he shows that exuberance on the ice, and he's got that goal scorer's flair about him, a bit of confidence, bordering on arrogance, the ability to do good things on the ice with that one-time shot, and it's pretty interesting. You go back to his days as a youthful guy, shooting hundreds and hundreds of pucks a day. They used to set up soda cans in the top corners of the net to practice and improve his shot. So not only is it a hard shot with a lightning quick release, but it is deadly accurate, and immediately the Winnipeg Jets had a high goal-scoring player with Laine.
And I'd be one of the guys that I'm happy he has that attitude. I know maybe some concerns, he may be a little too flamboyant. Not for me. Great goal scorers, and he wants to become one of those. He has shown himself to be that prior to his NHL career. Need an arrogance. They need an attitude and a confidence, a self-belief, and he has plenty of it. But I'd rather have a guy wired that way than someone who I think I got to prop up if things aren't going well. I love his attitude. I love his belief, his arrogance, his cockiness.
Now, it has got him in trouble in the past. A couple of years ago, he was kicked off their team for the Ivan Linka. Why? We asked him this. Why? And he said, well, I said I wanted to punch the coach in the face. And two of my teammates went and told the coach.
Yeah, they told on him.
Ran it out.
They ran him out. They booted him off the team. So it does get him in trouble. But you know what? He's a focused young guy as well. And sometimes his attitude might belie that a little bit. He's trained with NHL players, Rasmus Ristolainen, Lauri Korpikoski, so he knows what it takes to play this region. I think he'll be ready to go next fall.
You know, and as a matter of fact, guys, he is an absolute media darling in Finland as well. When he took his driver's license test this year in Finland, the public broadcaster, YLE, was there filming his last driving lesson. How we felt about Connor McDavid last year, that's how Finland feels about Patrick Laine.
I still can't get over the fact that he did that interview on the draft lottery night, lying down in bed.
It's